Hello, everybody. Welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee, and what I'm going to be doing is a little mini-series here. This is like Sherlock or North and South. This is a mini-series I'm doing called Best in Theme. And so basically, a little whiles back, the A-Team did our top 10 themes in board games list, and someone said, hey, why don't you list out some of your favorite games in each of those themes? They actually request I do a top 10 list for each one, and I'm not going to quite do that simply because there's not necessarily 10 games that I love in all of my favorite themes. So I'm going to be going through just some of them that I think work really well. So I'm going to be doing 2 themes per video. I've got these loaded up here and ready to go. So I'm going to start with my number 10 and number 9 today. My number 10 being the Viking theme. Vikings is a theme that I really enjoy because it can be both kind of like the big epic splurgy, fighty type thing, which I don't always gravitate towards, but it also could be a little bit more of like the societal building and resource management kind of thing. So you're going to see some of that here. Some games. So I'm going to start off with with this here, games that I think do the Viking theme rather well. First off, if you want excitement, if people say like, "Oh, let's play like a Viking game," I'm going to lean towards Champions of Midgard. I personally don't love a lot of the area control fighting games, so you're not going to see Blood Rage on my list or some of that stuff. But Champions of Midgard, this is a solid one because it has a Euro foundation of worker placement and everything. Has a neat look to it. You're sending people out on these ships across the harbor, and then you're rolling dice so you can fight. And so I like that idea of mixing the resource management Euro stuff with the excitement. It has a fun little dice rolling system. So Champions of Midgard is kind of the first thing that I would think of when it comes to that Viking theme. If someone says, I want to play something kind of, combative and fighting. But another game that I think does the Viking theme really well is actually right behind me on the shelf, and that's A Feast for Odin. This is one that, it's Uwe Rosenberg's I think it's his biggest box. I think it's his biggest game. And it is just a gigantic worker placement game. There's 63 action selection spots that you can go to. It's preposterous just how big the thing, big the board is. And it's just an epic game. It's just gigantic. As you scroll through this, you can see there's many decks of occupation cards. The boards are huge. You're playing your own little mini game of Tetris on your player board. Which, does that feel incredibly Viking-y? Well, the reason that this is higher up here, I'm going over this earlier, is because there's a lore book. Not lore, that's the wrong word. There's an appendix written in there about how every action space is thematic and what the explanation, the justification is for all of that. It goes through really the societal stuff about, hey, they had to like farm and stuff too. They had to raise animals. Animal husbandry was part of the Viking lifestyle, so I really like this. It's almost like a historical document of a board game. So anyway, Feast for Odin, one of my favorite Viking games, one of my favorite games of all time as well. I remember when I first got this thinking like, board games can't really get much bigger than this. Epic Euro games aren't going to get much bigger. And I was wrong. So moving along, Raiders of the North Sea. This is the first game that put Garfield Games and Shem Phillips on the map for me. I really like Raiders of the North Sea. My goodness, it's really fun. Straightforward, simple. It's less stand up and shout exciting than Champions of Midgard, but I think I like the general flow of this game a little bit more. It has the really neat, well, first off, it has a really beautiful board, art by the Miko or the Micho. And you have village actions where you put out a worker, do the action, and then you take a worker off of another spot and then do that action, which is so cool. Then you sail across here and you're pillaging and raiding these different places here. The whole loop of the game is really satisfying and really fun. I like Raiders of the North Sea a ton. I've played with the Hall of Heroes expansion, but I've not tried the Fields of Fame expansion. In fact, Fields of Fame is one of the coolest covers that I've ever seen. Fields of Fame, not Fields of Covers. This is worth pointing out. This is like one of my favorite covers in any board game ever. This thing is awesome. So I really want to try this expansion because if I want to lean into that like Viking-iness, punchiness. Okay, let's go another one here. This one is also in the North Sea trilogy. It's Explorers of the North Sea. I think Explorers of the North Sea is a very fun tile-laying game slash, adventure around the board, pick up and deliver type stuff. Pick up animals, go to the spot, accomplish these little tasks. It is, the art is okay as you lay out the tiles, but it's fun to just see these islands grow. The base game is all I've played. I've not played the expansion, but I've heard that the expansion basically resolves all of my concerns about the game because the game is a little bit simple, and there's moments in there where I think like, oh, why can't I deliver, when I pick up animals and stuff, why can't I deliver them like to the buildings that I built around the settlements and stuff? Oh, that's resolved in the expansion. Well, what about this thing? Oh, it's resolved in the expansion. Is this a little bit underpowered? Oh, it's resolved in the expansion. So this is one of those expansions I really do want to try. Fun, neat little pick up and deliver game, Explorers of the North Sea. So let's move to one more. Like I said, you're probably going to say, oh, I'm obviously missing a couple of these other Viking games, right? Some of the big epics, I'm sure I'm missing. I didn't put Blood Rage on there. I haven't played, not that it's fulfilled, but I haven't tried Lords of Ragnarok by Awakened Realms. I am curious about that one. I would like to try it. Another one I'd like to try, but I haven't played yet, is Jorvik. This is the Stefan Feld game. It's a Stefan Feld game, so I'm sure it's not thematic, but the fact that it is a Viking theme actually does interest me more than whatever it was called before. Actually, what is that one called before? It was it had a German, the Speicherstadt, yeah. So I do want to try Jorvik, and I look at the cover, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of cool looking. Oh, it's just like a little auction bidding game. Okay. Anyway, let's go to the last game that I have played. This is one that I don't feel like people talk about enough. I think it is a fun use of the Viking theme, and that's a game called Raids. This is by Yellow. This is, I think, one of the better, it's on the better side of Yellow games, honestly. It is a game where you can move your ship in a circle as far as you want, as many spaces as you want, and then you take the action of that space. And so if you've played Tokaido, it's, oh, you move as far as you want and do the action. But it's got a fun little twist to it where you don't do the action until it comes back to your turn because someone else can move to that space and boot you out of it if you lose the combat. It's the most Eurogame combat ever. You're basically just bidding little Viking meeples. But the pieces in this game are awesome. The art is really neat. It has that yellow look to it. The game company, Yellow, right? Has a good look to it, but the pieces are so cool. Like, look at this thing here. Bravo! That is, laser cut pieces, little Vikings with their war hammers and stuff. It comes with metal coins right out of the box, and so this is one of those games that flew completely under the radar. People didn't really talk much about it, and it surprises me because it's really fun. It is the most interactive version of the move in the circle as many spaces as you want. And then take the action in that spot, right? So if you think Tokaido is a little bit too simple, or it's just too light, then this one has some actual points of interaction and stuff that you might like. So that's Vikings. So let's go ahead and jump now. I'm going to be going over my favorite games in my theme number 9. My number 9 theme was alcohol production, which is funny because I am what one might call a teetotaler. I don't drink alcohol. I have absolutely no interest to drink alcohol in the least bit, but I respect it as a craft. The more that I learned about it, the more I find it so fascinating that humans across the world have all come up with ways to distill and to ferment and to, whatever the other words and stuff are, brew and stuff. All of the fact that we've created alcohol across the world and that there's so many different methods and different ingredients and stuff. It's really fascinating, and I like learning about it. So we're going to dive into my favorite alcohol production-themed games, and then I'm also going to sneak in one that really isn't about production, but I'm going to talk about it because it's fun. So let's go ahead and jump on over. Biome. Bam, number 9. So one of the most thematic games that I've played with this theme is Distilled. This is one that's not out yet. I don't remember exactly when it's going out to Kickstarter backers. We got to play this as part of a demo for what is it called? The Spectacular. We did it before one of the Autumn Spectacular or Winter Spectacular, and Distilled was really good. You are basically you're trying to make these different drinks, right? And unlike most other alcohol production games that I've played, you're not just making one thing, right? You can make, you see here, these are the different types of drink you can make. You can make your basic moonshine and your gin and whiskey and rum and some of the others, some other recipes that are more localized to different, to different areas of the world. There was one that we couldn't pronounce, cassava or something. I'm trying to remember offhand. Like I said, I don't have a copy of the game, so I can't recall all of it offhand, and the picture's teeny. But I like the fact that this one was a mix of push your luck along with it, and based on the ingredients that you put into it, you're creating different types of spirits and different types of drinks. And I thought that it worked really well, has a fun engine that you build into it, and so I'm excited for Distilled to deliver. But if I'm going to go to the next game that I think really embodies this theme, full body, round mouth taste kind of a experience with the idea of alcohol production, then the next one that I would recommend is Vinos. I've played the basic rules of Vinos, the one from 2010, I think. But I really want to try, maybe by the time that this airs, in between recording this and when it airs, maybe I've actually gotten to try the Vinos second edition. This one here that you see, the Eagle Griffin big box one. But I've played the original one, which was first printed by What's Your Game? It looks a lot like a What's Your Game game. Nippon and Lignum and those ones. But both of them are heavy Vital Lacerda Euro games, right? There's issues that I have with the 2010 one, and I kind of wish that the bank wasn't there, which this 2016 version gets rid of. But the fact that you are growing wines from different areas of the world, and so yeah, it's kind of represented on the side there, on the left side of the board, and then you are aging them, and you have to get all these different types of upgrades to really try to make solid quality wine, and you hire experts to help you in that process. And then on the right side of the board is the wine fair that you are presenting them at. So I like that not only is this, you're making the wine and you're not just kind of generically selling them, but you're also trying to showcase them, and you're trying to be an award-winning vineyard master, vin diagrammer. So anyway, Vinos. I really like this one. Not that not that I'm making fun of it, but viticulture, right? I said, you're just kind of making wine then selling it off. But I actually like viticulture as a game much more. I really enjoy this one, but there are some funny conceits that you make, or concessions, I should say. There's some funny concessions that you make to make this game work, like the grapes age. Is that terribly thematic? No, but the whole thing works mechanically so well, and it still is a nice thematic experience where you're trying to produce great wines and sell them off and fulfill these contracts and grow your farm. There's the different types of buildings you can build to increase the quality of your vineyard. Lots of different strategies, and you have to take advantage of the visitor decks as they come out. I mean, there's just so much good I could say about viticulture. The cooperative expansion. I mean, viticulture is a great game. So there's not a single picture here that showcases the main board and everything, but you can find a picture of viticulture. Moving along, I'm moving a little bit more abstract as this goes on. The first ones are very thematic, and then as I go on, they're a little more loosely related to the theme. But Clans of Caledonia is a fantastic Euro game. It's an engine builder, but it's also about taking advantage of the market when it's best for you to do so. It is compared a bit to Terra Mystica because the designer straight up said, I was inspired by a lot of aspects of Terra Mystica and a lot of aspects of a couple of other games, and he mashed them together. Jumal Juju, this is a phenomenal design. It's so good. And as I said, there's only kind of one aspect of it where you're turning wheat into whiskey. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. So anyway, the board control, the fact that as you build stuff off of your farm, off of your main board, it gives you more and more income every single round. I really like that aspect of this game, but also there's a fun market board. I wonder if I could find the market board that goods will fluctuate in price, and so you want to take advantage of goods when they are more expensive versus when they're cheaper. And so that's kind of what on the top left over there, that's what that is. The whole thing works really well. The producing of the alcohol is a smaller portion of this game. That's why it's later on here, but it's so good. Glenmore. Glenmore 2 Chronicles is the only one I've played. I've only played the basic version. I haven't introduced any of the Chronicles, the mini expansions that are in there. But this game's great, and it's a mix of a rondel and a tile laying game, and so you're building out the tiles in front of you, and like I said, it's not tremendously about the idea. It's not focused solely around distillation or anything like that, but you are in general. Oh, that's a prototype picture. Sorry. In general, you're just very, very Scottish people, and so that's going to be part of the experience. But I really like the rondel that you're going around is super satisfying because these tiles actually come out onto it, and so that some of the tiles are experts that let you move on a track. Some of them are building tiles that you place out into the grid in front of you, and super satisfying game. One I'd like to play a lot more. And last of all, the game that is most, it's really not about alcohol production in the least bit, it's more about poisoning. It's called In Vino Morte. This is one of those wallet games, the Button Shy wallet line, and it is the Princess Bride cup scene, right? The iocane poison powder. Is it in your glass or is it in my glass, right? But the thing is that this is a game that goes up to 9 players, 3 to 9 players. So one person per round is distributing poisoned wine and to some people and regular wine to other people. And so then when it's your turn, you either drink the wine or you swap with someone else. Then once everyone has done that one time, everybody drinks the wine. And if you're poisoned, you're out. It is the most ridiculous and simple bluffing game that possibly exists. But because the people who get poisoned, and then the remaining players play the next round. So it's that like Russian roulette style game where you're just kind of eliminating people as you go through. It shouldn't be as fun as it is. It really shouldn't be, but it is actually kind of awesome. So, yeah, very little to do with alcohol production, but like I said, really, really neat game. I enjoy it a lot. So there you go. That's my number 10 and my number 9, Vikings and Alcohol Production. I'm going to be going through a few more of these, 4 more videos for those of you doing the math at home. So I'll be going through the rest of the themes and showing off some of the games. Hope that this was fun. Hope this was interesting that you'll come back for the rest of them. But until next time, my name is Chris Yee. Thanks for coming by the Dice Tower. Have yourselves a fantastic day.